Memory Lane. It is Dr.CNichole here right now with Charles Hardy III. Okay, and when we come back, when the show started, he's going to tell us what's so important and significant about this area that we are in. So stay tuned.
In the Know with Dr.CNichole is a lifestyle show that introduces the audience to some exciting and interesting people who are a part of our contemporary journey, while always taking a moment to remember those who have made up the legacy we now find ourselves a part of. Dr.CNichole's exciting journey through life keeps the audience in the know with art, fashion, food, entrepreneurship, music, and so much more. Tune in to Dr.CNichole TV on YouTube to catch new episodes, and she will be coming to a streaming service near you real soon. As long as you want to stay in the know, you will be in the know with Dr.CNichole. In this episode of In the Know with Dr.CNichole, we talk with two of the busiest men in Philadelphia. And so, because they were so busy, we only had a short period of time with each of them. So we decided to combine it for one exciting episode. So don't go anywhere. I promise you will learn something you did not know before on In the Know with Dr.CNichole. Rachel Raquel, my cousin and contributor to our show, In the Know with Dr.CNichole, as you can hear, has provided us with some banging theme music. But if you want the full Rachel Raquel experience, meet us in New York City at Sounds of Brazil at 7 p.m. on October 17th. You will not be disappointed. Tickets are available, or you can pay at the door. Either way, come through.
Coming out.
Absolutely.
Okay. Seeing you again.
Yeah.
All right. So please tell the audience what's significant about this space.
Sure. Well, what you see here is the Philadelphia Art Museum.
Yes.
This building was designed by a black architect by the name of Julian Abel.
Yes.
He happens to be my great-grandfather.
Your great-grandfather.
Yep,
Did y'all hear
so-
that? Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So, he designed this building, Free Library, and a host of other buildings, all that you can see from this vantage point on the Parkway.
Nice. So let me know. That's a huge legacy.
Sure.
So, and you see all this activity, and it's always something here, and you know everybody wants to do that.
Sure.
How does that make you feel to know that that's part of your legacy? Like your great grandfather thought this, and then it put it and made it happen, created it, and now it's the space that everybody enjoys.
Yeah, it's definitely a source of pride, you know, for me and my entire family to know that whenever we watch TV, watch any of the historic movies that's featured this building or some of his other work, the Duke Chapel down in North Carolina.
Okay.
It definitely is a source of pride. But what really matters are folks like yourself doing this work, highlighting the fact of who he was in this city.
Yes.
With all of these.
Rachel Raquel, my cousin and contributor to our show, In the Know with Dr.CNichole, as you can hear, has provided us with some banging theme music. But if you want the full Rachel Raquel experience, meet us in New York City at Sounds of Brazil at 7 p.m. on October 17th. You will not be disappointed. Tickets are available, or you can pay at the door. Either way, come through.
Sky will be the limit. I mean, sky's already the limit for them, but how much more would it be if they knew that this existed?
Right. I mean, that's why I'm so glad you were able to, join me and talk about this, because when I found out, I didn't even know he was related to you. And beautiful to be at the art museum and the Thanksgiving Day parade, and it was designed by a black man.
That's
like,
right.
I've always found a way to say that.
Yep.
And so now they have you on the show and talking about it.
The honor's all mine.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about, were you able to attend the event that they had down in North Carolina at Duke?
They decided to rename the entire West Campus of Duke University. They named it the Julian Abel Quad. And so...
Wait. The Julian Abel Quad. Like, come on.
Yes,
Come on.
it's important because where the placard is, from that vantage point, every building that you put your eyes on wasn't actually even able to walk inside of them because he was an African-American man. So
He's the architect,
Yep.
responsible for the design of the buildings.
That's right.
And he could not enter the building that he designed.
Not in the Jim Crow South.
Jesus. Okay, racism is you know what.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, it is.
To finally see him get his due.
Yep.
So are there any other plans for, the Abel descendants to do anything or be honored in any way?
Well, Julian Abel's son, my uncle Julian, he's still alive,
Yes,
and
amen.
he's telling the story. And
Who knows? Maybe one day it might become a major feature film, because
That'd be awesome.
it is worth being in the theaters. It really is. It's
That would be
remarkable.
awesome.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming out. I appreciate you, and
absolutely.
I'm glad you were able to make it. Your story is a great one.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
This week's African American historic footprint belongs to none other than Philly's own Julian Abel. In the magazine Pen Today, writer Greg Johnson gives us a background story on the remarkable career and life of Mr. Julian Abel. The 1902 graduate of the architecture program is finally starting to receive credit for his vast and iconic portfolio, which includes the Central Branch of the Free Library of Philadelphia, Penn's President's House, Harvard's flagship library, and more than 30 spaces and places on Duke's campus. John paints a wonderful picture of Julian Abel when he opens the article with this: if you could have walked around Penn's campus in the early 1900s, you would have seen a rare sight: an African American student studying architecture who was respected for his intellect and talent and admired by his peers. Julian Francis Abel was his name, and his local claim to fame is he served as the chief designer at a prominent architectural firm that designed dozens of iconic Philadelphia buildings, including the Central Branch of the Free Library of Philadelphia and the Philadelphia Museum of Art, at a time when Black people were regarded as intellectually inferior and racism and white supremacy were protected by the law. Julian Francis Abel, 718 South 21st Street, Philadelphia, willing and able. Entered class freshman year from Brown Preparatory School, member of the Architectural Society sophomore, junior, and senior years, president of the senior year, won first prize in competition for library tablet, first prize in competition for Conklin Memorial Gateway, Haverford College junior year, first mention Bowes Art Society, won Arthur Spade Brooke Memorial Prize and T-Square Club Prize membership senior year, member record committee. Those are just some of the accolades that Julian Abel received while he was studying at the University of Pennsylvania. A Philadelphia native, Abel was a brainy and gifted student in what is today known as the Stuart Weitzman School of Design. He received an array of undergraduate awards and won the 1901 competition to design the Conklin Memorial Gateway at Haverford College. As a senior, Abel was elected president of the Penn's Architectural Society and served on the student yearbook committee. He did all this while working all 4 years at the architectural firm of Lewis Hickman, designing during the day and taking classes at the university in the evening and afternoon. Julian Abel was the youngest of 8 children. He was born on April 30th, 1881, to Charles and Mary Adelaide Jones Abel. Through his mother, he is a descendant of abolitionist Absalom Jones, the first African American Episcopal priest and co-founder of the Free African Society. Abel attended the Institute of Colored Youth, which is now known as Cheney University, Brown Prep School, and the Philadelphia Museum of Art of Industrial Art before enrolling at Penn in 1898. In 1902, he became the first African American to graduate from the architecture program. Abel moved to Spokane, Washington after earning his degree, where he designed a house for his sister, Elizabeth Abel Cook. In 1906, he was hired by Horace Trumbull, one of Philadelphia's most esteemed architects, who was famous for signing talented young designers. At first, Abel assisted chief designer Frank Seeberger. But following Seeberger's departure in 1909, he was promoted to chief designer. Until fairly recently, Abel had not been lauded or given credit for his landmark creations in and outside of Philadelphia. David Brown Lee, a professor in the Department of History of Art, who has been researching Abel for 30 years, said there are a myriad of reasons why this happened. He says Abel's race was most certainly an issue, along with the fact that the work of junior designers is usually disguised from the public. Nearly all of Abel's work was signed in the name of Trumbull, who never acknowledged the contribution of any of his highly skilled design staff. Trumbull died in 1938, and Abel continued to practice architecture in his name, although he did begin to put his own name on the designs. He is one of many gifted designers working in other people's offices who you don't hear about, says Brown Lee, and Francis Shapiro Weitzenhofer, Professor Emeritus of 19th Century European Art in the School of Arts and Sciences. Obviously, there's the additional invisibility that comes from being African American, but I would say the biggest reason he is not more well known is that architecture is a big and complicated type of art that involves lots of people who are unrecognized by most of us. In his 1989 book, Building the City Beautiful, the Benjamin Franklin Parkway and the Philadelphia Museum of Art, which provides an extensive history of the parkway, Brownlee wrote of Abel's contributions. In the revised edition released in 2017, Brownlee incorporated new discoveries unearthed during the intervening years and spelled out in detail Abel's role in the making of the Central Library and Art Museum. Both projects landed Trumbull's office in 1911. Abel's role in the Central Library is clear. He was its architect. It was Abel who took the designs to the library's board of trustees and presented the designs to the art jury for forerunner to the Philadelphia Art Commission. When the designs needed to be revised, it was Abel who revised them and returned to the art jury with the reworked drawings. His connection with the art museum is more complex. Brownlee says because two firms were given the project, Trumbull's firm and the firm of Zantzinger, Borey, and Mederi, who produced competing designs. Brownlee says it appears that the first design chosen by clients in 1912 for development and presentation came from Trumbull's office, and there is evidence that it was the work of Abel. But after modifications were requested, each firm assigned the project to newly hired junior staffers Howell Lewis Shea, who worked with Trumbull, and William Pope Barney, who worked with Zantzinger. Both were Penn alums. In 1915, Shea came up with the compromising design, which was approved following revisions. When construction on the art museum began in 1919, Shea and Barney were no longer with the firms, and Abel oversaw the preparation of the construction documents for the final museum that was completed in 1928. In fact, in 1919, he drew two big presentation drawings showing the art museum that was the product of the complicated story. Brownlee says the drawings were published as being by him. Brownlee says a distinctive aspect of Abel's story in terms of the social history of Philadelphia is that people in the know in the city, the leading architects and clients, knew of Abel's role in the Central Library and Art Museum projects. In a way, people living in his own time would have known more about him than we know today, because at least in Philadelphia, he did not have to be kept hidden. He says anyone in Philadelphia architecture and design at that time would have known that Julian Abel designed the Central Library. Abel's architectural thumbprint can be found up and down the East Coast. His personal portfolio includes Widener Memorial Library at Harvard in Cambridge, Massachusetts, more than 30 buildings and spaces at Duke University in Durham, North Carolina, Great Hall at Mammoth University in West Long Branch, New Jersey, and mansions in Newport, Rhode Island, and New York City. As the chief administrator in Trumbauer's office, he supervised the designs of hundreds of buildings. In Philadelphia, the list includes the Chateau Crillon Apartment House, the Hotel Adelphia, the Ritz-Carlton Philadelphia Hotel, and the Benjamin Franklin Hotel. The main buildings of Hahnemann and Thomas Jefferson Hospitals, and the Equitable Trust, Widener, Public Ledger, and Stock Exchange office buildings in Center City. Given the thinness of the documentation, we can't say much about the design. What Brownlee says, this uncertainty is maddening. Slowly, Abel, who passed away in 1950 at age 68, is beginning to be recognized for his genius. The city of Philadelphia honored him in the 1980s for his work on the Central Library and Art Museum. A historical marker rises in tribute. In 1987, Duke commissioned a portrait of Abel and to hang in a main campus lobby, and in 2016 named its main quadrangle Abel Quad. Early in 2020, Harvard took steps to acknowledge him as the architect of its flagship library. Late in 2020, Monmouth launched the Julian Abel Project to explore his relationship with the university's Great Hall. Penn has taken actions to praise Abel. In March of 1982, Black Pen Day at the Philadelphia Museum of Art was held in his honor, which included events at the Art Museum and Dubois College House. This past November, the Stuart Weitzman School of Design announced the establishment of the Julian Abel Endowed Fellowship in Architecture as part of its efforts to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion. Once fully funded, the fellowship will be given annually to a graduate architecture student or students. Just imagine Philadelphia without the art museum he helped design. Yes, Julian Francis Abel, an American treasure who has left his African American footprint. Rachel Raquel, my cousin and contributor to our show, In the Know with Dr.CNichole, as you can hear, has provided us with some banging theme music. But if you want the full Rachel Raquel experience, meet us in New York City at Sounds of Brazil at 7 p.m. on October 17th. You will not be disappointed. Tickets are available or you can pay at the door. Either way, come through.
Hey there, Memory Lane. It's Dr. CNichole, and I am here with Cliff O'Neal. Yeah. And so we are on the beautiful Avenue of the Arts. Take a look behind us. Yeah. And so we're going to have a conversation because Mr. Clifford O'Neal is an actor and director. Okay, so we want to stay tuned because we're going to get all into it.
Don't know where. You like that?
All right. 2, 1. Hey there, Memory Lane. So yes, I am back. We are here with Clifford O'Neal Flood, the actor from Philadelphia, who is also a director, okay? And so he transitioned from in front of the camera to behind the camera, from lead character on stage to actually being behind the scenes and calling the shots. So he's going to share a little bit about what that experience was like for you.
The experience wasn't that bad, to be honest with you. Going from in front of the camera, being an actor, I knew sort of what a director would want, what I would want as an actor looking to be a director one day. So that was pretty much easy. I think the hardest part from making that transition was learning about the business of film directing, the business of producing and writing and that nature.
Okay, that was the hardest part, and that is usually the tricky part when it comes to anything in the creative genre.
Yeah.
So, but share with us just a little bit of your background in terms of, you know, your experience as an actor prior to you becoming a director.
Well, my experience started actually on the runway.
Nice.
As a model. I started.
Fashion.
Yeah, I started to actually, do some fashion shows. That helped me break out of the shyness that I had. The shyness of being in front of people.
Wow.
The shyness of communicating with people. So the modeling just happened to transition into the acting. So yeah, I've been in quite a few stage plays.
Nice.
I was in several of your products, productions, I should say. And it was a blessing. It was a blessing. I got to thank you again for the opportunity that you gave me to play various characters. But yeah, the experience was definitely a lot. Currently, I'm working on my own project, another project that deals with gun violence in Philadelphia. Going to be doing solely directing there. Hopefully I can actually get a role where I could do some directing and acting. Do that dual, and I know that's the challenge.
Yes.
But doing that dual role during a production. So I've been in several different productions, everything from stage to small theater to independent film to working on some of your major movie sets as an extra.
Nice.
Rachel Raquel, my cousin and contributor to our show, In the Know with Dr. CNichole, as you can hear, has provided us with some banging theme music. But if you want the full Rachel Raquel experience, meet us in New York City at Sounds of Brazil at 7 p.m. on October 17th. You will not be disappointed. Tickets are available or you can pay at the door. Either way, come.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about your project, because that was like your breakout role into the directing space, right?
Yes. The project film short was called Emancipation of Maya Coffee. It was produced by 5 Shorts, which was a program that helped first-time film directors create something. It taught you everything from writing, executive producing to directing, and you had to do all of that your own. So I wanted to tell a story that empowered women where they were able to take control of any situation that they were in.
Nice.
And at the moment, human trafficking was something that a lot of people just didn't talk about. It was like many of our churches swept that under a rug. Many just of the normal conversations was just swept under a rug as it related to human trafficking. So it's a project that deals with human trafficking as well as the mental illness that derives and comes from that type
that
of
trauma.
situation, that whole trauma. So yeah, it was a challenging thing, but it was definitely well worth it. I think when I saw the film, I cried. I was like, wow, I really did this.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Your family was very proud of you, just to put that out there. I mean, I know you know, but the way that they gushed on social media about you and how proud they were, it actually, but it actually did my heart good, because it's nice to feel supported by your own. Like sometimes, especially coming from Philadelphia, unfortunately, we don't necessarily get that love and that support from our own until we go off and everybody else recognizes it, and then it comes back. So to see it from the initial, and then it also squashes the stereotype that black families aren't together and unified, because your family was unified and supportive. So I appreciated that. So okay, so now you're saying, now you're doing another project, your project about the gun violence. How did that come about?
That came basically about, as we look at not only Philadelphia, but we look at every inner city, every urban inner city, they have the same problems. So for me, I am a victim of gun violence. You know, my father was a fatal victim to gun violence when I was a child. So it had always been a story that I personally wanted to tell. But as a native Philadelphian, just watching the news and just seeing so much violence amongst our people, especially at the hands of a gun, it inspired me to actually want to sit down and write something that dealt with that.
Nice. You know, it was amazing because during the end of my doctoral work, while I was at Lincoln, is when the numbers really began to spike. And I had said, I was praying about it, like, Lord, I would love to do something for my city. I want to go back and figure out a way, not just give all my talents to the college campus, which is still needed there, because a lot of the student body is from Philadelphia, more than 50%. But I wanted to be in the city, and so now the opportunity to shoot Memory Lane here and to show all the nice sights and all that kind of stuff is a blessing. And so tell me why you think like projects like this, like yourself working in this field, may be some type of encouragement to young people to take another path.
So as an artist, I feel there's a responsibility, no matter if you're a singer, a writer, a director, an actor, a musician. You have a responsibility to teach, and to show others, a possible way to go. So for me, that's the mainstay of what I want to do. On the acting side, I would like to play characters who stretch me. I would like to play characters who, in fact, mirror someone in the audience. Where someone in the audience can say, wow, that's me up there on that stage. Oh wow, I know a person like that. So taking that from in front of the camera to now going behind the camera, I wanted to have that same responsibility. I wanted to shed light, another opinion, another view on some of the issues, the social issues that we go through. That's the type of director I would like to be.
Nice.
So you're not going to see me do a bunch of science fictions. You won't see me and stuff like that.
I'm not really into that part either.
Yeah, that's for someone else. I'm not saying that that's right or wrong.
It's just a different.
Yeah.
It's just different.
Rachel Raquel, my cousin and contributor to our show, In the Know with Dr.CNichole, as you can hear, has provided us with some banging theme music. But if you want the full Rachel Raquel experience, meet us in New York City at Sounds of Brazil at 7 p.m. on October 17th. You will not be disappointed. Tickets are available, or you can pay at the door. Either way, come through.
It's just different. And I think it's important for young people from the city to actually see a person like yourself being all of those things, like being a father, being a man of God, being somebody behind the camera, being somebody who tells a story, a story to empower women, a story about gun violence, whatever, because then it makes their imagination kick in.
Yeah, that is true. I wanted to, through the arts, help someone else, empower them as well. But I owe all of it to Lord Jesus Christ, to be honest with you. I grew up a shy kid, afraid of my own shadow. I remember my first time on stage was in a talent show, and we were portraying the Jackson 5. That tells you how long ago that was. And only 3 of us showed up.
Oh, wow.
So already I was like,
The Jackson 3.
and the curtains opened, and the other two guys, they were doing their thing, and I just stood there, just like a deer in the headlights. And I remember jumping off stage, running past the audience in the gym, and just bolting through the doors, running home crying. And I said to myself, I'll never do that again. But I think at that moment, the Lord God, and at that moment, I didn't know what it was, but something was like, give it another try.
Okay.
This time prepare differently. This time prepare better. You know, this time maybe pray more. You know, so in fact I did, and the next year I was in another production. I played Scrooge. So yeah, it was.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's funny. Just as a young man trying to learn lines and everything. So again, I think support and prayer means a lot. You know?
Yes.
And if one can get that from their family or someone outside of their family, definitely take it.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, because sometimes you can't get it from your family.
Correct.
And if it's not in your family, God got somebody somewhere that will give it to you. Because I I've taken bits and pieces from different women.
Right.
I love my mom. Okay, so don't read nothing into that. I'm just saying to be the person that I am, because my mother is shy. She has a beautiful singing voice, but her shyness, she couldn't overcome her shyness.
Correct.
And so my thing is, I can't sing, but I can talk and I can, do other things. But I had to grab that type of persona from other people in order to develop it in my life. And so, it's nothing wrong with that. Well, we truly appreciate you. And I never knew that you played Scrooge before you played Scrooge in the production that I wrote. Okay.
Yeah, I did.
So,
I did.
So tell me, so what was that like? Must have been like a 180 or 360 for you to have to do it again.
To do it again
in a different route.
In a different route. It was a school play. It was a small play. I think there might have been like 15 people in the audience, which makes it difficult for a lot of artists. A lot of artists, they feed off, and that's the wonderful thing about theater. You feed off of your audience, but then when your audience is unappreciative, or if your audience is not there, that's when your acting ability really has to kick in and be able to still deliver. So I was able to do that through a lot of hard studying. I remember my mom, who was a little totally against me being in plays and things of that nature, but she was able to sit down and help me learn the lines, write them out, and to this day I still write out the lines.
Nice.
Just to make sure that they stick and I could deliver them in a more positive and more creative way. Nice.
So, okay, well, you told us you got the gun violence thing coming up.
Yes.
All right, is there anything else that you got coming up that you want to share?
I've actually had the opportunity to be in a production, which was my first comedy. It's my first comedy on screen.
Okay.
It's called My Funny Valentine.
Okay.
And believe it or not, it's about a vampire who goes to see his therapist.
That sounds interesting.
So for me, being a Christian, it was one of those things that I had to pray about. Because I'm playing something totally different than who I am.
Gotcha.
And I believe that Christ simply said, well, through this negative character, you're going to be able to help other people see the dark versus the light.
Nice.
So I took that approach to it going into the character. It was funny. It should be coming out early spring of 2023.
Nice.
It's directed by one of my classmates, Kevin Overton. He did a phenomenal job with it. Yeah, so
nice.
I was happy about that. An upcoming one, I'll play an individual who, in fact, was arrested for bank robbery. He turned his life over, gave it to Christ, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. That should be really, really nice.
Wow, that's great. Well, I look forward to seeing all of this stuff. So tell us where we can follow you, where we can find you, so forth and so on.
Okay, my Instagram is Cliff O'Neal 2. The number 2, excuse me. You can find me there. You can find me on my Facebook, Clifford O'Neal. So yeah, you can definitely find me in those 2 places, yeah, for sure.
Nice. And so when we want to view some of your work, do you have a YouTube channel or?
Yeah, so you can YouTube, right now I basically have Emancipation of Maya Coffee. You can just go to YouTube, put Emancipation of Maya Coffee. Maya spelled M-Y-I-A. Coffee is C-O-F-F-I, and you can definitely see the film there. It's about 18 minutes and 40 seconds, so it's a film short that I'm proud of from my first project. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I look forward to seeing more. I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, Memory Lane with Dr. CNichole. We'll see you soon.
All right.
You are now in the know with Dr. CNichole. Catch you next time.
I've been a war, I'm not confused, I know what I'm fighting for, and I put up a fight for what is mine, convicted of love, and I did my time.